Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go over the overall market update. So I'm just going to look at general stocks like the S&P 500, the NASDAQ. I'm going to throw in a couple of what I think are high flyers in the NASDAQ, some solid companies as well, like Chipotle and stuff like that. I think they're pretty solid companies, good cash flows, good everything. But a lot of them are high PE ratios, price to earnings ratios. And what the theory is what I proposed in 2020 when I first opened the channel all the way out through today, is that when interest rates go up, that we should see an impact on the stock market, that it's going to run into a strong headwind, and that we could see it roll over and pull back or maybe go sideways for a very long time. And it highly depends on the rate of change that the 10-year yield has. So I've got the 10-year yield. We're going to look at that first. We're going to walk through all of these different overall market companies to give you a picture of what they're doing. What I am proposing is that there's a lot of money that's stuck over in the stock market. It's stuck in the bond market. And this is going to all unwind. It's going to first unwind slowly. And depending on what this 10-year yield does, could unwind quickly. And we don't want things to move too fast. We want them to continually move and move slowly. We don't want things to get out of control. So that's really what I'm looking at. So I'm gonna go over a couple of things in this clip that I don't normally go over, so you guys get a little bit different picture and viewpoint on stuff. So one, I've got the VIX. The VIX is the volatility index of the S&P 500, and I'll take a big picture view here. You can see that these big spikes in volatility, they usually correlate with crashes. Usually, we had a crash in 08 there. We had the crash in 2020 here. That's it. These are the big, spikes in volatility. We do have the volatility kind of coming up here recently. Usually, the volatility kind of goes up when we're coming back down. Usually. But I'm just noticing, the VIX is spiking up a little bit. We've got the 10-year yield continuing to move on up at a pretty good clip. And then we've got the dollar strengthening a little bit. What this is going to do, I think, is going to put a lot of pressure on bonds. This is the TLT, the 20-year Treasury bond, and we're right there at support of this bond. And there's the price. And remember, the price of bonds goes down as the yields go up. And what I am expecting out of this is an actual move and a break lower. If this breaks lower, this is kind of like a paradigm monumental shift in the markets, because what it means is that the bond market could go into, it's not yet, could go into a bear market. Now, why do I think that? What do we have here? We've got this nice little shoulder deal. And then I think we're going to blow through this. We'll do a retest move, and then we'll probably come and do a little bit of jiving down here, a little up, and then we'll pull back like that. Something like that type of move. I've seen this move quite a bit in terms of a topping pattern where you've got kind of a Elliott wave move here, like a top. We come on down, we do a little retest, come back. It does a little like weird movement in here, comes on up, and then we may even do something like that. There we go. That's the full looking picture. I don't know if it's going to go down this far. I don't know the actual movement. I mean, I guess we could kind of guess what it is. It could be quite big. But it's looking pretty weak for this movement. And remember, we've been in a massive bull market in bonds with interest rates declining for over 40 years. So we could be reversing that into a very large bear market for bonds. It could last many, many years, could even last over a decade or many decades. I don't know what the time frame necessarily will be, but I do think that this is going to come under pressure, and we're going to break this line here eventually, do that retest move like we always do, and then head on lower. Now, looking at the overall markets, what this is going to indicate with an increasing interest rate environment and high inflation usually puts pressure on the overall markets. Here's the S&P 500 SPX on a long-term time frame. So we're going to back way out. I'm going to go into logarithmic format so you guys can see it. What we're seeing is this was a consolidation period, consolidation period, consolidation period. And what I'm telling you is I think we're going into a consolidation period for a long time. This one here was from 2000 to 2013. This one here was 68 to 1982. And this one here was from 1929 till 1950. Those are very large and long consolidation periods of that period. Now, these periods could be deflationary or inflationary. These were expansionary phases and inflationary periods. Expansion phase of real estate in these periods here, we're entering an expansion phase of real estate. And that's why I think we are going to have this sideways action, is because we've got a new inflation driver with an increasing interest rate environment. And that's how it all aligns, looking at it from a big picture view. Now, when we kind of dive in on the right-hand side, this does not look bullish. We have a rising wedge pattern that we've broken to the downside. Remember, look at those candlesticks, bearish engulfing, bigger move lower, and then the weak pull up higher. The move down, the weak pull up higher. And I think we're going to continue either sideways or lower with some sideways to lower move. But you got to keep in mind, we have a lot of inflation going on. And this could dive down at some point, depending on the rate of change of interest rates and how high they get. So there's a lot of factors in this move here. I'm not saying it's completely simple. I'm not saying I have this all figured out. I don't think anyone necessarily does. But it does look very toppy to me. And I think we're going to get sideways at best. Lower is a likelihood. So sideways to lower. We're seeing that in also the U.S. Composite Index. You can see this thing starting to kind of roll over. And large down days, smaller up days are starting to prevail. How long will this last? Not exactly sure. Remember, there's a lot of inflation out there. So my bet is that the commodity sector is going to outperform it. I would not be in here shorting these because with lots of inflation, you could still have the stock market go up. It's just losing its purchasing power against other assets. And that's why it's important to understand all of these ratios. Now, here's Chipotle. Chipotle's, it's been moving sideways. It still is holding on quite well, actually. Yeah, we kind of rolled over here, and we may roll over more, but it's still holding on for what it is. Apple's still getting a little bit of selling pressure. Again, it's been quite strong given the increase in interest rates. Amazon getting a little bit of a sell-off. We're kind of below this. This could be a return or retest move where we head on lower. Again, I'm not calling for this top. It could do, these are powerhouse companies that I'm looking at. But if they do roll over, we're going to see a vast outperformance of commodities in relationship to these companies. And remember, nothing goes down or up in a straight line. Facebook getting a little bit of a sell-off here, that's for sure. I don't like how this thing just bounces like it's a dead cat bounce, but maybe it'll move sideways for a little bit. A lot of momentum behind this stock to the downside. It's got to work that momentum off. Google, I've got the rounding top. You can maybe even round it this way. A little bit larger, but this guy is moving sideways at the moment. Baidu, another one that's been under pressure lately inside of this big channel, just moving in the channel there. Looking at Visa, it's clear to me that this thing's broken its uptrend and it's been moving sideways. So usually what happens is you have up. Let me get the big boy arrow here. You've got upward momentum, you get sideways momentum, and then your momentum will eventually work its way lower. Potentially. Maybe we just go sideways. But that's Visa. Looking at Mastercard, we'll do a kind of a big picture view here. This thing's been up, and we're starting to play with that downtrend break. We've just been going sideways in a megaphone pattern. The momentum is sideways now. It's not necessarily up from what I can tell here. TTD, another one. This is the trade desk. Notice the momentum is what we're looking at. And the momentum has slowed. We've been strong momentum higher. And now this momentum's going sideways. And then what you look for is the momentum to go lower. If it does, we'll see. We've got nice support underneath it. And we'll see if this is what actually happens. Remember, I have no skin in the game here. And what I see and what I look for when I look at this is these, oops, is I'm looking for the highs. The highs continue to go down. The lows are starting to get a little bit lower. And if this blows out, it's going to be a little interesting to see what happens here. But that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing. You see a rounding-ish top move. You see that. This is what a top looks like. And this is where I would start getting a little bit defensive in this sector. I wouldn't be as heavily weighted. Roku already blew to the downside. This guy is looking more like a burnt piece of, I don't know what, toast, fish. Nobody likes burnt fish. Microwaving fish, guys. If you bring fish to your work and you start microwaving it, sometimes that can be a little bit over the top. But I see lower lows, lower highs. This is in a downtrend. So that's also not looking good. Now, some of the I'm going to go over home builders here too. KBH, this thing's quite low. We've kind of pulled back. I've got some, resistance line coming through here. It's getting to that resistance line. Kind of funky that we're seeing home builders almost roll over in the face of increasing home builds. I know they're having a lot of supply chain problems. They're starting to run out of areas to build homes. So maybe the house prices go up while home builders struggle. Or maybe this is the beginning of a pullback. We'll see in the real estate market. MDC Holdings has been pulling on back. Not a lot of data here. I don't know why. Okay, there we go. It's finally loading. Maybe this is a cup and handle pattern that's forming. We'll have to wait and find out. MTH, Meritage Homes, this looks like a retest to me. This looks bullish to me. This is the non-logarithmic. This is logarithmic. So I would actually look at potential buy points in some of these. TPH, still coming back there. CVCO, it's still in an uptrend, looking quite strong. This one's Skyline Champion Corporation. Getting off logarithmic. It looks like we're coming back. We hit our head on this resistance there. Well, I've just recently drew that in, but looks like we're getting a little bit of buying pressure here. Nice, good bullish engulfing. We'll see if we can head higher. LEGH, Legacy Housing Corporation, was going to do a breakout and then has fallen back over. LEN, Lenner Corporation. This guy's got a long-term, look at this thing, guys. Big old move. You can see the shoulder, head, shoulder, the pullback, the nice big move, the hit it, and then broke out. And now we're getting a large retest move. So this could be actually a very good buying opportunity in home builders, something like a Lenner Corp, if it can pull back a little bit more. And it could be entering a very good buy point for back here. XHB, another one. This is the ETF. Again, we've got that resistance line. We've broken out, had a massive run. We might have a pullback here and then a retest, and maybe that's good to be buying the retest. HOV's been pulling back here. Again, we've got a nice little bullish engulfing there, and we've got the shoulder, head, shoulder pattern there, and then we've got almost, I think, the full pullback, and I think we're getting real close to a buy point in this area down here for HOV. TOL, Toll Brothers, logarithmic. It looks like a retest move, and we'll see if we can get some buying pressure here to move it on up. And then LGI Homes, another one here. Let's get off logarithmic. Some of these I did in logarithmic, some I didn't. Kind of an upper channel here, there. And then we've got the lower channel. Maybe this is coming all the way back inside of the pattern for this megaphone pattern. Remember, this is a barrel pattern that might have just blew to the upside, and we're not done yet. We'll come back here and then blow to the upside completely. But that's what I see for the home builders. And the home builders look quite interesting. I don't know what to make of it yet. I do own a little bit in HOV and a couple of the other ones, KB Homes and whatnot. I haven't sold anything. I bought it at a pretty good time, but I think maybe adding in here at some point soon, if we can see a clear bottom, might be a smart thing to do. So I don't think they're ready yet. They still have a lot of downward momentum. You can see that in the chart behind me. but and they're not necessarily at, some of them are not at support levels, others are at support levels. So some of them might be worth putting on a watch list and start watching them. And I'll put in there on my website when these get really hot to a turning point. I'll put them on the website and when I think I would be buying and which ones I might be buying. But right now I'm just kind of holding off on them. All right, guys, that's what I've got for today. Thumb up on the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Definitely hit up the website if you guys are interested. Platinum membership to get you the question and answer Zoom meetings that we've got every week, and the question and answers, and then all of the other information that I have on the website that deals with the thesis. It deals with a lot of other information in terms of Lassonde curve, in terms of cost curves, and in terms of market balances and all sorts of stuff. And I've got some picks on there if you're on the Platinum membership. And I do charting as well of ones that I would currently be buying and looking at. I put those on there. All right, guys. Hopefully you have a good day. This is Finding Value.